My one-on-one is lack of motivation. So what would you do to help someone without motivation? Or to help them get more motivated? Because I know how Mo helped me, but did any of your mentors help you guys like, get you motivated?
Well, me personally, I'm already a pretty motivated person. I don't think to be motivated, so.
That's
no.
good. That's not how I am. I don't know. Like, I'd have to talk to the person and see why they're lacking motivation. Because it's different. It's different in everything. So sometimes people just apathetic. And like, I know with me, it's a lot harder for me to start. Like, it's hard for me to start projects. But once I start projects, I want to see them through.
Yeah.
But it's just pushing through that cloud of apathy before I can get on to the project. Because usually I'll get sidetracked with Facebook or comics or anything. You know, just pick a distraction. I'll go after it before I do my project.
Yeah. I'm the same way. That's what I do. I thought there was going to be lots more people here.
I'd like to make a comment. I think I study motivation. It's an area I've done a lot of research in. And when you talk about motivation or a desire to act, because that's kind of what motivation is about, is what leads you to act, that underlying energy, force, the feeling, the idea. I think a lot of times when you look at like self-help books or programs or things, a lot of prescribed ways to improve or to become motivated are just that. It's an external idea that, oh, you need to do this and you'll be motivated. And I think a lot of times we who are lacking motivation, which could be situational, but it could be more reflective of, and usually is more reflective of what's going on inside of us and what the challenges are inside of us. It could be related to some deep-rooted issues that we're struggling with, but usually, or quite often, we're not acknowledging the real inner struggle that's preventing us from being motivated. And it's going to be different for everybody. But usually it's an internal thing. And we all struggle with motivation at different points in our lives. But I think the sooner that we can be honest with ourselves, we've talked about the whole self-betrayal type of thing, there's a relationship and association with that. The sooner that we can be honest and uncover what's holding us back from really being motivated towards those things that we genuinely and naturally want to do and feel inclined to do, I think that's where some real motivation will start coming in.
I think for me personally, part of the reason why, not necessarily lack of motivation, just the whole procrastination thing, I know with me it comes in because I don't want to start the project because I'm afraid it'll be difficult and I'm afraid it'll be time consuming. And so I just dilly-dally in all these other areas. And I'm really good at that. I just kind of go off in all these other areas. But like I said in my presentation before, like the night before it's due, like, okay, now it has to get done. And so I can pull an all-nighter or whatever and I'll get it done. And it's fairly decent. It's probably not as good as it would have been beforehand, but it is, I don't know, I think I do an okay job. And the other night I was procrastinating something for my work, and I was up to like 1:30 a.m. and finally all my other roommates went to sleep and everything was just nice and quiet in my apartment. And I sat down and I expected it to be like 2 or 3 hour project. I was able to get it done within half of an hour. And like, it was really just the fear of like starting it because I wasn't sure how long it was going to take. And I was able to get it done pretty quickly and it was well, and it was just interesting, like what kind of the mental games that we all play with ourselves before we start a project. At least that's how I feel. I don't know how to motivate people think.
How to motivate people? Well, I don't know. I just like going to vet school is like this big thing, right? Vet school is like almost as hard as getting into med school nowadays. And my motivation is seeing people who have the job I want and the life I want, and working towards it because that's what I want, you know. So it's hard in the process. It really is, because I don't know. It's life is like draining, you know. But it's the end result that motivates me.
I have a question to something that Bryce said, just to get you thinking. You said you were afraid of starting or afraid of being too hard. I wonder, and this isn't just for Bryce, but for all of us, I wonder if it's also a fear of not doing a good job. And if that supersedes even some of the other barriers or superficial excuses that we put up to say, I'm afraid to start because it's going to be hard. But really our fear is, I don't want to look bad. I don't want to, and I'm not to say that that's the case, but I think it's because I have faced it myself. And then there's the flip side of, I like the validation that I get when I pull an all-nighter and I wear it like a badge of courage and honor, that I pulled an all-nighter with my friends and they say, oh, you're so awesome, I don't know how you pulled that off. And you get this validation. And so it reinforces itself. And so you do it again, because you like how you feel whenever you get that attention. And that could happen too. And so it's really not you, but we get sucked into this. It's like, yeah, I used to say it a lot. I used to say, yeah, I only get 4 hours of sleep. And people say, oh, I don't know how you do it. And I realized, why do I say that? I don't need to say that. It's not a big deal. I mean, but I realized that in reality, I didn't want to admit it, but I was saying things like that to feel good about myself. So I think those are some things that can help us, if we're honest with ourselves, look at some of those things that were discussed.
I think a lot of people lack motivation because of past failures. And like they just lose it. Like they used to have motivation and then they would fail, and then they would try again, fail, you know. And I think that is one of the main struggles to help people find motivation again, because they did used to have it and they lost it. And I don't know, that's just like a thought, you know, like
No, I agree.
Regaining their hope. But definitely, hope is definitely a big part of motivation, I think.
I just went, so I've talked about him a lot, but the mentor of my life, Bill Birch, they just had a dedication of a lodge at a scout ranch for him. And the person that runs and owns the scout ranch that decided to name this after him, he got out of the hospital that morning because of a heart failure of some sort. His wife brought him back from the dead and with CPR and all this different stuff. And so when he went up to talk about it, he had a very different outlook on life because he just about lost it. And he talked about this type of motivation, and he calls them the 3 W's. And for me, it's helped me to realize and analyze, okay, why am I doing what I'm doing? What is actually motivating me to do what I do? And it's who. So who are we doing things for? Are we doing things for other people? Are we doing things for ourselves? Are we doing them who are we doing them for? Or whose life for? What we're doing and why we're doing it. And so analyzing these things, I've been doing it a lot this last week of just seeing, okay, who am I trying to target with what I'm doing? What am I doing? Or let's say I did this just this morning, is talking about different things that I do in my life. Is who am I doing them for? What am I doing to show them that that's what they're for, and why? Like, what's the reason behind it? And so for me, that's become a thing that's helped motivate me, is to really analyze those 3 W's.
How would you motivate someone whenever you try to go and talk to them, they just get upset and offended and get less motivated and don't do it or whatever? Because I deal with lots of these people in my life, but I don't know what to do.
I can share my experience. I have found, so if we're talking about a student, for example, or someone who is supposed to do certain things and is not. So I could back it up even for a larger context. So a student who is not turning in assignments or not going to class, could be a coworker or someone you're supervising who's not doing their job, not coming to work. Could be a lot of circumstances, context. I have found that the minute that they see that you are interested in the assignment and in the attendance and not interested genuinely in them, it doesn't help. And so